I wonder how campaigning for Kamala Harris is going.
Hello.
What up, dog?
My name is Alberto. We came from Culinary Union Workers.
Uh-huh.
I knock at the doors and try to endorse vote for Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, exactly like I thought it would, as he's probably used to that reaction, as of course he also proves migrants will actually take the job that Americans won't, as of course Americans overwhelmingly are not going for Kamala Harris, as there is a very interesting debate happening right now about immigration, specifically about less homogeneous societies, and of course the correlation with them and the rise of crime here in the United States. As today we have a very bewildering article from the Daily Mail that talks about an evil super gang that just seized an apartment complex in a major Texas city. As we keep hearing about these stories all over America, as this is truly, I think, one of the key issues that will be one of the major deciding factors this November 5th. As there's also another report coming specifically from Aurora, Colorado, where an apartment worker and manager was beaten to a pulp by also a very similar gang that now, according to the latest reports, have seized 4 additional apartment complexes in San Antonio, Texas. As a lot of Democrats and a lot of people in the corporate media are telling you that such things aren't happening at all, as the corporate media tried to, of course, tell everyone that this was fake news, that this was disinformation. But with the rise of criminality, with the rise of people just being able to walk into the United States and not even be vetted, with, of course, the decline in crime happening in places like Venezuela, with a lot of people talking about the government there literally opening up their prisons and telling people to come to America. You would think that people would correlate this, especially when it comes to all the sanctuary cities and all the federal and local police departments that are literally handcuffed, that are prevented from even stopping all this. As there's a lot of woke district attorneys that seem to allow a lot of these crimes to go unpunished, especially if they're done by a demographic of people that the Democrats see as future voters for them. As just last week, local police in San Antonio raided an apartment complex and arrested 19 individuals for gang activity and extortion charges. As law enforcement sources confirmed that this organization was running the apartment complex for 5 to 6 months, using vacant units for squatting, renting others to other migrants, while running illegal drug operations, with also alleged accusations of exploiting women and children in absolute horrible ways. The New York Post did a very interesting highlight of this kind of criminal organization, predominantly from Venezuela, by describing one of their members as, quote, the little devil, the 15-year-old migrant that has been, quote, terrorizing New York City in armed robberies. As they're reporting that this young man was arrested at least 10 times this year, let go by law enforcement, while at the same time staying at a taxpayer-funded shelter, as it's very common for a lot of criminal enterprises and organizations to use young children, as of course the law isn't as heavily used against them as it is for, of course, adults with a long rap sheet. As one person said, quote, there's no deterrence. You have a 15-year-old who continues to treat our city like his own personal video game. As the New York Post goes on and describes how a lot of these criminal enterprises and organizations recruit young people, specifically from shelters, who are getting a taxpayer-funded ride to New York City and then being put up at some of the finest hotels in the city, which are making the cost of hotels go up dramatically, since now there's a larger shortage of it, as New York City has spent billions of dollars importing the third world, and now they're complaining about third world problems. I wonder how that happened. What a mystery there. I wonder if they'll ever figure out how did this happen. As I think the lowering of violent crime rates in Venezuela really do highlight the clear, obvious thing that happened here. And it's an issue and it's a conversation that very few people want to have. As even the former president of the United States, Bill Clinton, came out and talked about Laken Riley, a young 22-year-old American woman nursing student that was viciously attacked and lost her life after a 26-year-old Venezuelan migrant who entered the United States illegally under the Biden-Harris open border policy continued on a large rampage of crimes that he was released released from, that he was freed from, as there are many such cases that Bill Clinton decided to personally bring up and say this during a recent Kamala Harris campaign rally.
You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about it, about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened. But if they're all properly vetted and that doesn't happen.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Yeah, that last part, of course, wasn't correlated until a lot of people took Bill Clinton's comments and started to run with it online. As of course, what he said does make sense, but it also, of course, implicates the Biden-Harris administration that deliberately kept the border wide open and allowed people without any kind of vetting, without any kind of discernment, without any kind of questioning, just to walk into the United States and be handed gifts from the American taxpayer that financed their larger kind of transition into American society, where, of course, for the Americans that are living here already, made the cost of housing go up and the cost of labor go down. As a lot of people responded to this by saying Bill Clinton just made things worse for Kamala. As another user said, I guess the October surprise is that all of the top Democrats secretly hate Kamala. As the New York Post wrote, quote, we agree with Bill Clinton. As essentially what he said was that Laken Riley passed away and lost her life because of the Biden-Harris lawless border policy that has been instituted by these politicians. Now, Bill Clinton also passed the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigration Responsibility Act of 1996 that actually, guess what? Deported people for committing crimes here inside of the United States when they were illegal. That's the exact opposite of the policies instituted by Biden and Harris that, of course, prevent federal authorities from going after criminals after they committed crimes here in the United States illegally. As, of course, through these policies, we have a rise in crime. There's no denying that, except for the corporate media that really is trying to deny that, but also the federal agencies that are going along with this as well. Because if you remember 2 weeks ago, the FBI came out with their new crime statistics, and they were like, oh, wow, look, crime's down. CNN ran with the headline saying, this is not luck. This is a systemic approach. These major U.S. cities are trying to curb violent crime, and it's working. It's not. As, of course, we saw a lot of left-wing media personalities run with these new statistics that were obfuscated since major police departments didn't participate with them. As the FBI now also, 2 weeks after revealing those crime numbers, just quietly revised them and highlighted how actually crime is not down. It's actually up. And that does absolutely make sense, as they now are stealthily editing and hoping you don't find out about these important crime statistics that are very important to look at, since they highlight the larger lies by the federal authorities here that try to obfuscate the reality of the situation that we're dealing with. As, of course, this is not the first time that the FBI lied and fudged the numbers in order to specifically help out the Democrats. As Donald Trump came out and was also fact-checked, and everyone said was spreading fake news that crime was up, as the ABC News moderators, of course, corrected him on the proper record, which we all know was bunk. You're paying attention to what's really going on here. You're in any major city. If you're in San Francisco, you're in Chicago, you're in New York, you're in LA, you see crime up dramatically. And they're telling us, don't believe the evidence from your own eyes and ears. And Donald Trump was right all along, specifically during these statements during the ABC debate.
Crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud.
Yep, and we called it here as a fraud as well. Specifically in a short we did detailing this that we're going to link down in the description below, so you could see us calling out the bullcrap and propaganda in real time, which we were right about, which the FBI now admits they lied and are trying to obfuscate the larger findings of. And if you appreciate our kind of hindsight, us having this kind of magic crystal ball that we're able to see through the bullcrap, support us right now on wearechange.shop. We have a lot of really incredible products available to you. Some of them you have to go all the way down and click here in order to, of course, see it. But we really do have a lot of great products, including yard signs. We had a diploma here that we used to sell that was absolutely hilarious and awesome. We no longer, sadly, have that. There's only so much I could do, but the more that you support us, the more that we grow, the more that we promise to provide you really awesome and incredible products. And we have a lot of them, specifically with magnesium glycinate, something that, of course, helps people get some good night's sleep, helps people deal with anxiety, deal with stress. A lot of people are dealing with that. Check out magnesium glycinate on wearechange.shop. As, of course, members of lukeunfiltered.com who call into our show get a free supplement. So if you're a member, call into our show, be a part of it, and we'll mail you out a free supplement. The ashwagandha, also really good for those individuals who, of course, need to take it in order to lower their cortisol levels. Check out ashwagandha as well. Make sure any supplement you take, anything you take into your body is right for you as an individual, because some of them are not right for you. What is right for you is when you start doing your homework, you start doing your research, and you start your own independent health journey, which we hope you start on wearechange.shop right now. And you could get all the amazing supplements that we have available to you, as we also provide a discount for people who, of course, subscribe. And these make great stuffers, and with, the overall kind of health and well-being of the American public, I think it's fair to say everyone needs to start their own independent health journey. You can help people do that by getting them supplements on wearechange.shop. As there's a lot of corruption within big pharma, and that's why people are taking their health into their own hands. And getting these powerful supplements really will help you out. It has helped me out. As there's even a larger push by federal authorities out there that are trying to ban supplement. That's because it's helping a lot of people. Stand up for your right to access beneficial health products right now by going to wearechange.shop. As I don't support many products, but I'm very proudly supporting these ones. I respect the products and the company that I've started, and I think you will too. Just click the link down in the description below, and I will see you there after this video. As it's also important to note here that with things getting crazy here in the United States, there are even some people arguing for more immigration, for more unvetted access into the United States and to the American taxpayer resources, as the level of this immigration is so vast, so big, that new studies highlight how foreign-born migrants will be the only source of U.S. labor force growth after 2052, as there's a lot of underlining things specifically happening here that a lot of people are arguing for more unvetted migration into the United States. Now, first of all, this was originally a larger Koch brothers plan that destroys the American middle class and just guts any kind of human resources and services that we had for the lower class of this country that now are treated like second-class citizens. This is why there's an overwhelming amount of men and people in the black community that are saying, yeah, no, I don't want to support Kamala Harris, because by supporting Kamala Harris, I support these larger policies that are absolutely not helpful to the American public. As Bill Clinton continued on with his shocking statements and literally talked about replacement theory, describing it as a real situation and the need for illegal immigrants to exist because of the low birth rates here in the United States. Now, why are there low birth rates? Well, this is something promoted by a lot of propaganda outlets, by the corporate media, by the Hollywood industry that keep telling people, you better stop having children because it's not good for the, quote, weather. Absolute delusional, insane kind of thinking, as we are dealing with a significant population crash soon that will have larger ramifications that will absolutely obliterate and destroy the entire Western civilization that we are currently living in. All of this while they're saying we need to open up the borders and to replace the native-born population, predominantly white population, with, of course, the people from the third world that are going to come in and fix all of our problems. When in reality, they provide new slave labor for all the multinational corporations that, of course, get to screw over the American labor force. As Bill Clinton's comments here during this Kamala Harris rally do really say the quiet part out loud that the Democrats really haven't been that honest about. Because when they talk to their constituents about these policies, they talk about, oh, we got to be caring, we got to be considerate. When in reality, there's a larger scheme happening here that is absolutely deserved to be talked about.
I don't think Americans are anti-immigration. They're anti-chaos, right? They don't want us to do more than we can, but they recognize, at least most people do, we got the lowest birth rate we've had in well over 100 years. We're not at replacement level, which means we got to have somebody come here if we want to keep growing the economy. Unless one of you is one of these artificial intelligence geniuses and figured out how we can all grow with no work, which I'm not sure would be good for us. I think,
Yeah, compare that to the latest comments made by J.D. Vance when he was being interviewed by the corporate media. Their take on it was also kind of exemplified from this larger kind of Bill Clinton take, where this interviewer was saying, hey, we need immigrants to work all the construction jobs, with which J.D. Vance countered with by saying, hey, those could be American jobs. Those could be jobs that help out the American youth in this country that are becoming more and more disillusioned with their purpose and life, as they usually fill their void with TikTok and other empty kind of short dopamine pleasures that are destructive towards their overall personal health and well-being. As Donald Trump is now vowing to end all sanctuary cities in order to, quote, restore normalcy. And I think this is one of his major rallying calls that has predominantly been very favorable to the American public that's listening to this, that's seeing everything that's going on and saying, yeah, that guy makes a lot more sense than, of course, the ever-so flip-flopping former border czar that is denied even being a border czar, Kamala Harris, that has helped institute a lot of these policies that have created a lot of the chaos that Bill Clinton is now warning people about. Inadvertently kind of suggesting that, hey, Kamala isn't right for the job since she helped spur on a lot of this chaos. As, of course, Kamala Harris definitely has had a very kind of unique approach towards all this on the campaign trail, as now she's trying to reshift this larger kind of backstabbing against the American public, this larger kind of taking away of resources predominantly from black families, by announcing this recently, as she's announcing plans for reparations just for blacks, because she grew up in a, quote, middle class that she's absolutely eviscerating through her policies.
So my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very clear about that position. In terms of my immediate plan, I will tell you a few of the following. One, as it relates to the economy, which is a lot of what you have addressed. Look, I grew up in the middle class. My mother, worked hard, raised me and my sister, and by the time I was in high school, she was able to afford our first home. I know what it means for an individual and a family to have home ownership. I also know, in the context of history, nobody got 40 acres and a mule.
All of this, as it definitely looks like she's trying to buy back the vote, especially from black men that overwhelmingly, according to the polls, really don't like her. As she just posted, black men deserve a president who cares about making their lives better. As she's talking about the agenda for black men that, of course, will push racist, discriminatory policies against everyone else other than black males, as she has announced that she's going to provide a $1 million loan that is fully forgivable for, quote, black entrepreneurs. Who's going to pay for that? Oh, yeah, the taxpayer that, of course, is discriminated against predominantly and given less opportunities because of the way that they were born. What is that called? What is that called? What is that? Oh, yeah. It's called racism. It's called discrimination. She announced she's going to support education training. Who's going to pay for that? Oh, yeah, the taxpayer. Oh, yeah, she's going to protect cryptocurrencies investments just for black men. You're a white guy in cryptocurrencies. Screw you. We're going to send the SEC on your butt, and we're going to bankrupt and destroy you. Oh, yeah, free health care for black men. Oh, yeah, this is the most kind of absolutely bewildering part. She's talking about legalizing the wacky tobacco. That's yeah. Hey, black guys, look, I'll give. Really? That's where we're at. That kind of pandering, that kind of low level approach to this entire matter and situation. That's absolutely pathetic. As now the situation is in the hands of the American public. Will this low level, low IQ, patronizing kind of initiatives work? Well, as of right now, we have over 250,000 people in Georgia that have voted on day one of early voting, as thousands are still in the line here, as a lot of people have started to line up, breaking a lot of records, as of course the previous record in 2020 was that only 136,000 people voted early, specifically on day one. Huge increase, which highlights, I think, a very kind of uncertain circumstance as more and more people are becoming politically activated and engaged, as even longtime Democrats are coming out and giving a dire warning to America, saying America will be destroyed from within. These are the latest comments from Bill Ackman that really has been seeing things in a more clear way, in my opinion, recently, as he just went on this diatribe on Twitter, describing many points what he sees as the larger kind of destruction from within that is happening right now that will be at stake this upcoming November 5th. What do you think is going to be the results of that? Let me know. As, of course, we return 6 p.m. Eastern for the live Kamala Harris Fox News interview that we are going to be responding to in real time. We're also going to have Matt Kim join us for today's conversation with a special surprise guest. So stay tuned for that and a lot more, all here on youtube.com/wearechange. Don't forget to get yourself some supplements. We got 2 here. We got other 2 products here. We got another great product coming your way very soon. And your support, more important than ever. Support wearechange.shop. Support us as we do our best to work for you as independent media. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.